Hello everyone, welcome to Val Fashion's YouTube channel. Today we'll be learning how to make this beautiful shirt dress.
So to begin this tutorial, I'll be marking 2.5 inches here from my center front,
Please join me in the making of this beautiful shirt dress.
which is going to be for my button allowance. So then I'll draw my shoulder line, which is going to be the starting point. Just come down by ½ inch from the beginning of your pattern paper. So the measurements I need are the shoulder measurement, the bust measurement, the waist measurement, the hip measurement, and of course the armhole measurement. So to get my shoulder slant, I'm going to mark 3 inches here on the shoulder line, away from the 2.5 I already entered here. So away from the 2.5, this is my 3 inches, and then I'll mark 8 inches. So on this 8 inches mark, I'll come down by 1 inch to create my shoulder slant. So this is my shoulder slant. So I'll bring in the measurement of the shoulder. The shoulder measurement I'm working with is 17 inches. When you divide it by 2, you have 8.5. Then plus ½ inch for joining my sleeve, which is giving me 9 inches. So I extend my shoulder slope all the way there. So to get my armhole measurement, you're going to divide the bust circumference by 6 plus 1.5. The bust circumference we're working with is 45 inches divided by 6 plus 1.5 is 9 inches. So I'll mark my 9 inches here. And then I'll come down to bring the same 9 inches I have here, which is the shoulder plus ½ inch for joining sleeve. So here is my 9 inches point. So I'll connect it. So this is my chest line, which is also referred to as the armhole line. So from there, I'll come down to get the bust point. For this shirt, you don't necessarily need the bust point, but if you want to, you can just come down to get the bust point. But it's the same. You're going to enter your chest measurement or your bust measurement on the chest line. But the bust point I'm working with is 11 inches, and from here, it's still aligning with this because of the shoulder slope. So I'll just leave it that way. Then get the waist point, which is 17 inches, and then the hip point is 25 inches. So I'll mark out my lines. Here is my waistline, the hip line also, and then this is our chest line. So we'll go ahead to enter our measurements. Now, this is what we're going to do. The bust divided by 4, you have 11¼ because it's 45. So that's 11¼ plus your 2 inches plus sewing allowance. The waist divided by 4 is 42. That's 10.5 plus 2 inches for your sewing allowance. The hip divided by 4 is 48. 48 divided by 4 is 12. 12 plus your 2 inches for sewing allowance. So like I earlier said that this is a shirt dress. So, but my paper is just 36 inches long. The full length of the dress I'm making is 59 inches. So all I need to do when I place it on the chiffon material is to just take it all the way down. So the same measurement I have here, which is 14 inches, supposed to be 14 inches because the hip is 48. The hip is 48, that's 12 plus 14. So plus 2 inches, that's 14 inches. So I'm bringing the same 14 inches down here because it's just going to be going all the way down straight like so. I'm taking the hip measurement down straight. Okay. So I'll come here to get the midpoint of my armhole, which is 9 inches. The midpoint is 4.5. So of course this is the front that has the button allowance. So I'll go in by 3/4 inch. So when I go in by 3/4 inch, I'll curve it back. So I'll slant it back to the shoulder line. And then I'll do my armhole curve. Okay, so this is my armhole curve. So the neckline I'm using a neckline of 3 inches. It's a shirt I'm making, so I need the neck to be on the collarbone. So you can divide the bust by 12 plus, if you can divide the bust measurement. When you divide the bust measurement by 12, so divide 45 by 12, let's see. Using 3.5, I won't be using the whole 3.75. And then I'll bring down the same 3.5 this way. Okay, so this is the front pattern for my shirt dress. So on this shoulder line, I'm going to be coming down by 1 inch. We'll understand when I get to the back. So I come here at the shoulder line and come down by 1 inch. So the same 1 inch here, because the front will come and then the back will make up the front. So this is my 1 inch here. So I'll go ahead, I'll fold this in. This is my button allowance, I'm folding in like so. Start cutting. So I'll be cutting on my previous shoulder slope. I'll go ahead and cut out the neckline. This is what I have. So this 1 inch that I removed here, I'll be cutting it out because it will come from the back. The back will make up the front. So I'll come here and cut out this 1 inch. Then I'll place another pattern paper to draft my back. So to start drafting my back, I'll come down by 1.5 inch from the beginning of my pattern paper before I go ahead to draw my shoulder line. So here's my shoulder line at the back. So at this point, I'm going to mark my 3 inches and then my 8 inches to create my shoulder slant. You can see I'm starting from the center back. This part does not have button allowance, so I'm starting from my center back here. So on this 8 inches, I'll come down by 1 inch to create my shoulder slant like I did for the front. Then I'll go ahead to enter the shoulder measurement. The actual shoulder measurement is 17 divided by 2, that's 8.5 plus half inch for joining my sleeve. So I'm going to extend this shoulder slant to that point. Okay, so I'll come down by the armhole. We know what the chest line is, which is the armhole. That's 9 inches. I'll mark 9 inches here and then come here to reconfirm my 9 inches, which is the shoulder measurement plus half inch. So I'll connect my length. Then I'll just take it outward. So this is my chest line for the back. The waistline, I'm going to mark it here too, which is the same 17 inches. And then the hip line is also 25 inches. Okay, so and then of course that's 36 inches. So I'll come here to the midpoint of my armhole. I'll get the midpoint of my armhole here. I have 4.5 like I have for the front. At the back, I'll be going in by half inch at the midpoint. This is to eliminate bulge around the armhole area. Then I'll connect it back to the shoulder line. Then I'll get my armhole curve and do my armhole. Okay, so this is my armhole line, which is also my chest line. I'll be entering the bust measurement there. 45 divided by 4 is 11.25. So I enter my 11.25 there, plus 2 inches for sewing allowance. The waist is 42 divided by 4, 10.5, plus 2 inches for my sewing allowance. Hip is 48 divided by 4, 12, plus 2 inches for sewing allowance. In a situation where you want to have that, if you are sewing a fitted shirt dress, you enter your dart, which is 1 inch here at the waistline, and you also do the same thing in front. But in this case, we're making a very free shirt dress, so we're not adding that to it. So I'm going to connect it this way. And this way. And then I'll bring the same 14 inches that I have here down here, and that's what I'll take all the way to the hem of the dress by the time I'm transferring to fabric. So this is what we have. So remember that I went down by 1 inch at the front. So I'm going to be going up by 1 inch because this 1 inch will go forward and make up the difference we have in front. So on this shoulder line, I'll be going up by 1 inch like so. Like this. So this is my 1 inch. So meaning that the shoulder has extended upwards by 1 inch. So here on this 1 inch line, that's where I'll be entering my neck measurement. I use the neck line of a neck width of 3.5 inches in front. So I'm using the same 3.5 inches as the width here at the back. And then the depth is 1 inch. So I'm marking my 1 inch. Look at where it's starting from. It's starting on top. That's away from the shoulder line. That 1 inch I added, that's what I'll be using for my neckline in front. So here is my 1 inch mark. So I'll come here and connect my necklines like so. Here is my 3.5 here. So this is my neckline, which is 3.5. So this is where it stops. So this is how the neckline for the front is. You can see that the neckline is on top of the shoulder line. So that's how it's going to be for the back. So I'll go ahead to cut it out. I'll begin with cutting the neckline. I'm cutting my armhole. I have for my back pattern. So I'll bring in my front pattern to show us. So this is how your 1 inch will come forward. When you place your armholes together, that's when you align the armhole for the front and back. You see your 1 inch coming forward to make up this part. So at the end of the day, you still have your 9 inches armhole, which was the armhole based on the size of the bust. So this is my 9.5. Let me place my tape correctly. So this is my, sorry, not 9.5, 9 inches. So from here, so this is the 1 inch coming forward to make up this. So I'm going to place this on my fabric and cut out the main that's the main fabric. All I just need to do is just to extend my dress downwards, because I said that this is short. All I just need to do is just to extend it downwards. So there's really no need for me to add paper and waste paper when I know that I can just increase the length on the material I'm working with. So this is what you will have for your button allowance. So you can see the shape it has. So what you just need to do on your fabric, you fold ½ inch like so, and then fold 1 inch. Remember, we added 2.5 inches for our button allowance. So here we are. So can you see that by the time I fold ½ inch and then 1 inch, you see that I have my 1 inch, which is going to be the button overlap. And you can see that here, because I folded it in, I do not have a shortage around this point. So by the time I join it, I just need to trim out this part, and then I have my button allowance. So we'll go ahead and cut out our main fabric. Okay, so I'm cutting my fabric. Cutting my back first. So like I earlier said, that it's going to be a shirt dress, and the length I'm working with, I'm placing my tape from here. That's from away from the 1 inch. Here, looking for a length of 59 inches plus my hemming allowance of 1 inch. So my table is not covering all that. So that's what I'm just going to be doing. And then I'll bring the same 14 inches, which I have as the hip measurement, plus sewing allowance. I'm just taking it down. I just eyeball it and just take it down. Cutting my shoulder slope, I'll be going up by ½ inch for joining the front and the back. So this is my ½ inch here. So I'll cut my back neckline. So this ½ inch is for joining the front and the back. So cutting out my front neckline, you can see that my button allowance is opened. So I'm just going to follow the shape. We're going out by ½ inch on the shoulder line. That's for joining the front and the back. Cut the armhole. So that's it. So that's that for the cutting. I'll show us how to join. After neatly joining my shoulder, this is the front side of my fabric. This is the back side of my fabric. After neatly joining my shoulder, the next thing to do is I'll be folding this button allowance. You remember that we added 2.5 here. So I'll be folding ½ inch and then 1 inch. So, and then I'll press on it. After doing that, after pressing on it, I'll go and sew it on my machine. Then I'll come back and show us how to cut our collar. I folded this part. As you can see, I've sewn it neatly. I've done the same thing for the other side. So now the next thing to do, I'll be measuring the neckline. This is to get the measurement for my collar. So I'll just place it on fold like so. I'll take my measurements. What I have here is 21. That's 10.5 on fold. So because it's on fold times 2, that's 21 inches. So my collar is going to be 21 inches plus 1 inch for my sewing allowance. You can see that this is how the shoulder, the back is coming forward to make up the front. You remember the 1 inch I added? See, right? By the time I align my armhole here, so you will see that my 1 inch is here coming forward and falling towards the front. So I'll get my pattern paper and then I'll show us how to draft our collar. So from the measurement I had 10.5. My paper is still going to be on fold. So I'm drafting the collar stand first before the collar. That's the lower part. So I'm going to take my measurement. I have my 10.5 here. So I'll just come here, then fold my paper. 10.5. So I'll come to this point. I can just draw my line to show that this is where my collar is starting from. This is where I'm starting from. This is my line. So I'll take my measurement. At this point, you can see that this part is on fold, which means that this part is closed, this tells us that this is the middle part. At this point here, at this 10.5, I'll go up by ½ inch. I will go up by ½ inch at this point, and then I'll come here to get the midpoint of my 10.5, which is going to be 5 1/4. So here is the midpoint. I'll just curve it in. You can use your straight ruler or you can use your pattern master. This part that is a little slightly curvy. Okay, so this is it. So I'll be taking my measurements now. I'm going to be marking 1 1/4 here because this is what I want to have when I am done sewing. My collar should be 1 1/4. So here too, I'm marking my 1 1/4 inch, 1 1/4 inch. So you can see that it will still follow this same curve. It's going to be curvy again, like so. And then of course to connect to this place straight. So this is what I want to have. So this is what my collar looks like. I'm just going to connect it. So you can see that I have my 10.5, which is the end of my fabric here. So this is my collar stand. This is my collar stand. So I'm just going to label it collar stand. So this is my collar stand. You can come here if you wanted to have that curvy shape that collars usually have, which is what I'll be doing. I'll come down by ½ inch from this part. This is the down part of my collar and this is the upper part of my collar. I'll just come down by ½ inch from this apex, from this sharp point here, and then just curve it in nicely, like so. You can use your curve, your pattern master to just create the curve there, but I already like what I have done with my free hand. So I'll cut out this collar. This is my collar stand, which is the lower part. You notice that I've not added any sewing allowance to this pattern. So I'll be adding my sewing allowance to the fabric, that's to the main collar itself. This is just my pattern to get the gums here I'll be using to fuse my collar. So I'm just going to follow this curve like so. So this is what my collar looks like. So this is how it's going to be. So to cut the upper part, this is what the collar stand looks like. So I'll be cutting the collar itself, the upper part. So the same measurements I have there, the same 10.5 I have on the neckline of my dress is the same thing I'll be using. So let me just make this line straight because already it is curved. So we'll know where we're starting from. So here, on this point, from this line now, I'll go up by 2 inches. This collar is going to be, the upper part is going to be 2 inches. You can do 2.5. Okay, let me do 2.5. I want this collar to be a bit big. So I'm doing 2.5 and then 2.5. So here is my 2.5. I'll connect it. Okay, so I have my 10.5. This part is going to be the down side of my collar and this part is going to be the upper side of my collar. So I'll come here to this part, which is the down part. I'll go in by 1 inch at this point. And then I'll slant it towards this side, like so. And then I'll come to the upper part. I'll go down by ½ inch. And then slant it to the midpoint of my 10.5, which is going to be 5 1/4. So here is my 5 1/4. So I'll just come and slant it this way. So this is it. So this is the upper part, which is the collar. So here's my collar. So just go ahead and cut this out. And then I'll cut out this part like so. So here is my collar stand, and then here is the collar itself. So this is how it's going to look. You get the midpoint. So when I place it midpoint, can you see the difference I have here, and I also have it at the other side. So I'll be using this as a pattern. I'll cut out this from my gum stay, and then I'll go ahead to cut it out from my fabric. The difference is that for the gum stay, I'm just going to be cutting out exactly what I have here, and I'll do the same thing for this one. Then on the fabric, I'll be adding half inch at the upper part, half inch down here, half inch here, and also half inch at the side. So I'll do that. I'll come back and show us. Using the hard gum stay, I'm cutting out my collar stay. I'll cut out exactly what I have here without sewing allowance. I'm just going to cut out exactly the same thing. Place it well. So I have exactly the same thing for my collar. So I'll do the same thing for the collar stand. So here is my collar stand. Cut out exactly the same thing. So I'll trim out this part nicely. So this is it. I have my gum stay. So I'll just cut my material and come and show us what to do next. So I've gone ahead to cut out my main fabric, and this is my gum stay. You can see that I have half inch here and then half inch down on this part. I have two of my collar stand, and I also have two of the main collar. So that half inch I came down, I added as my sewing allowance. I'll be adding this gum stay. Now this gum stay has the shiny part, which is the part that is fusible. So I'll be placing it on one side of the collar. So that's, or either you choose one of them, but whichever one you're placing it in, that's you're placing it on, that's the one that will be outside. That's the part of the collar that will be visible, not the one that will touch the body. So I've added my gum stay to it. I'm just going to iron it. I'm making sure that I leave my half inch everywhere. You see, I have my half inch here. I also have my half inch on this side. So I'm just going to be ironing it to it so that it can stick to it. So I'll be doing the same thing for the collar stand, the upper part too. That's which is the main collar. The upper collar. I'm ironing my gum stay for the collar stand. I hope this is clear. Done that so you can see that's stuck to it. I can't remove it anymore. So I'll make sure to press it very well. So we'll go ahead to do the same thing for, so I have two of this. You can see one will cover the other. I'll go ahead to do the same thing for the collar. I'll take my gum stay, place it on the bad side, which is the wrong side of the main fabric, and then I'm also arranging it to leave my half inch on all the sides. So now that I've done this, I also have two sides. So now the first thing I'll be doing to this collar is I'll place the good face facing good face. Of course, this is the good face of my collar facing the good face of the other side. Then I'll go ahead and sew it on this half-inch allowance. I will not allow my seam or my thread to be on top of this gum stay. It's just going to be on exactly before the gum stay. So I'll be sewing it round like so. That's from this side. I'll be sewing this way, and then to this point. And then I'll come back and show us what to do. So when I had to sew my collar, you can see my stitch. I'm using a matching thread so it won't really show, but you can see you can't see my stitch on top of my collar, no, on top of the gum stay that I used. This is so that you don't sew on it. So I'll go ahead to notch this part. First, I just trim out this part here, and then also trim out this part here. This is to enable me turn the collar. So I'll be turning the collar to the good side. I'm turning this side too. Then you turn it out. Those parts that have shifted, you press them well so that the gum will stick to it very well. So this is what I have for my collar. So just go ahead to. So after pressing on it very well, this is what I have. So I'm going to take my collar stand, and then I'll take my collar stand, excuse me. So I finished sewing the collar. You can see the main collar, see how it is, and I've top stitched this side. I turned it out and I top stitched this side. So this is my collar stand. You can see that I've ironed half-inch. That's my half-inch seam allowance, which is on the one with the collar stay or the gum stay. So I didn't do that on this one. So the next thing I'll be doing, I'll just get the midpoint of this collar stand and notch it. I'll do the same thing for this, the one with the collar stay or gum stay, and still notch it. Just to have a tiny cut there so that it goes where the center is. I'll do the same thing for the collar. I'll get the midpoint, making sure that I'm folding it correctly. Then I'll go ahead and notch it. So now the next thing to do is to place this. Make sure that you are placing, the collar, the gum stay was placed on one side of the main collar also. So you make sure that the side you are placing the collar stand without the collar stand without the gum stay. Make sure it's the same thing as the side you are placing it on the side without the gum stay too on the main collar. I hope that is clear. So I'm placing it like this, the middle part, and then I also take this part that has the collar and the gum stay on it, and then placing it too on this side. So I'll pin this middle part. So when I do that, you can see that the difference I have here, which is that 1 inch that I made it shorter by, or that's the 1 inch I removed from the main collar, is the same thing I have on this side. So what I will do, I'll go ahead and sew on this half-inch now, like so, and take it round like this, curve to this point and stop. Can you see that I didn't fold this half-inch here? So we will see how to go about that. So I'll take it and sew round from this part. Of course, this part that is not folded, I won't sew that part. Then I'll come back and show us what it looks like. This is how I joined it. You can see that I still have my half-inch hanging at the lower part, and then this part is folded. So the next thing to do, I'll take my shirt, the shirt dress, then I'll notch the midpoint. I notch the midpoint. Make sure that I place it and fold well. Every part should be aligning. These two shoulders here should be aligning, and then here, and then notch the middle. So I'll go ahead and take my collar. Now, like I earlier said, that the part with the gum stay should be the one outside, not the one touching your body directly or touching the body of the person you are sewing for. So I'll fold this collar also into two, like so, and get the midpoint. So this part that doesn't have the gum stay is a part that will be placed from inside. This is the wrong side of my shirt dress, so I'll be placing it this way, the part without the gum stay. replacing, that's the side I didn't fold in half inch. So this part will be in the front side. So I'm just going to pin it nicely all the way to the end. Machine, and so then I'll come back and show us how to cover up the collar. I finished sewing my collar. You can see I sewed it from the wrong side. From looking at this part, you see that this is the wrong side, which is the back of my shirt dress. So now I'm going to tuck in this part. Remember I said that the part with the gum stay is the one that is going to be outside. So you neatly tuck in this part, trim out any excess thread you have. So I'll just push it in nicely and then pin. Successfully pinned it down. You can see I've done that all the way to this end. Let me hold this part down very well. I've done that all the way to this end and everything is sitting well. So I'm just going to take it to my machine. I'll sew from here and then stop maybe like 4 inches, and then I'll turn it to this side and start sewing from here. This will help you so that you don't have any excess around here, so that your collar sits well. Because see where the seam line is, so that it will align with this. If you sew from one side and just go all the way to the other end, there's a tendency that it can shift like so. So and you don't want that. That is why I'm going to sew like 4 inches, and then I'll turn it to this side and then start from this other side. So when I finish that, I'll come back and show us.
Okay, this is the outcome of our shirt dress. It's looking really beautiful. I fixed my buttons already. Please, if this tutorial was helpful, do not hesitate to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. See you in my next one. Bye.